First, every voice matters. Secondly, it's also about enhancing decision making. Thirdly, language accessibility. And finally, it's also about customer-centric approach.
Hi, hello. Welcome and thank you for being here. My name is Kira Johnson. I will be your host for today's webinar. The decision is clear: modern voting for city councils. Now, if you have not joined us on a webinar before, or if this platform is new to you, please check out the right-hand side on the bottom of your screen. You're going to find some tabs that you can use, not only our general chat, but also our questions tab. We do have a polling tab there. We're not going to be using that today. And links, that's going to be links to our website and our city-specific landing page, as well as a couple other resources. Now, when this webinar is finished, we're going to be uploading it on our website. You'll find us under the support tab. There is the link to webinars, and then that will show you not only this one once it's uploaded, but any past webinar that we've had. Feel free to go check those out. We've slated 30 minutes today for this webinar, and I am going to do my very best to stick to that. I ask that you stay alert. We're going to be going over a few different topics quickly, and I want you to maximize this time we have together. But if you have any questions, know that my team is available and keeping an eye on that questions tab. So please throw them in there and they will answer as we go along. At the end of the webinar, we will be sending you out a short survey. Now, this survey is really just to capture what you felt was most helpful, or what you enjoyed most learning about today, as well as asking what you would have liked to see more of. You'll also have the opportunity to ask any additional questions, as well as request us to follow up with you. So if there's something you're working on actively, please do so and complete that survey. You'll also be entered into our $100 gift card. That is an e-gift card. So you'll see that at the end. We'll announce who the winner is and draw that winner a couple hours after we're done here today. And without further ado, let's review what our agenda looks like. We'll review the everyday risks that cities take with voting, how to make votes visible, who Televic is. This might be your first interaction with Televic as a company. So we're going to review who we are and then review our newest product. So Discerno Decide is a new product for us that I'm excited to share with you. And then we'll just recap what it looks like after a meeting. Now, the risk, of course, when it comes to everyday votes is we have a lot of cities and not just cities, counties, lots of places that are still doing your typical hand raise style vote, which of course is quick, but not very transparent, or not always transparent. Roll call might be more accurate or easier to follow, but not always quick. So the challenge isn't really just for the clerk, but it's also for the public to kind of keep track of everything that's happening during a meeting. And this really creates an avoidable risk for transparency and trust. So we want to see votes that are happening that, of course, are not only visible, but defensible. Votes really should be seen as they are cast. The results should be clear and unambiguous. Accuracy should not rely on interpretation or assumption, and the public should see the same outcome as the record. Visibility and accuracy must happen together. Now, this is not anything new to us. Now, I've been with the company for 5 years now. Of course, Televic has been around a lot longer than that. We're celebrating our 80th year in creating better understanding. And as you can see, we have a pretty impressive lineup covering not only just discussion, but we have already covered different options when it comes to electronic or digital voting. We have options and products and solutions that aren't just audio, but also video. And then we service and support multilingual meetings as well. So if you've not heard of us or had a chance to speak with our team, you might have unknowingly seen us before, as we are really have supported not only your cities, but large institutions, your big formal meetings like the UN and NATO, as well as large institution and government organizations. This has been our history. A lot of people refer to us in the industry as the push to talk guys. And as you'll see, that is not the case. It may have been, but we've made a lot of efforts over the few years and decade of really transforming our more formal meetings to informal meetings as well. So this be not only for government, but you'll see us in corporate spaces, in education, and we really try to ensure that we have a fully loaded portfolio for every price point for different applications. Now, this, of course, covers the growing need, and of course, COVID was the kickoff, in my opinion, of big recognition towards Televic, as we have always had products that provide clear audio and amplification. Now, with COVID and social distance and hybrid meetings growing and the demand for them, people realized that we were already capable of providing a solution without having to start from scratch. So we have always created better understanding, and we continue to do so, not just with your meetings, but also when it comes to accessibility and assistive listening. This is inclusive with multilingual type applications. So that being said, I want to review with you what we consider our essential package or our essential line. It's called Discerno. Now, I'm going to apply it to City Council application, but one thing that I hear a lot every time I go to a show, I'll have my microphone out on the table, and I'll say, "Have you ever heard of Televic? Do you know what a discussion or a conference mic is?" And so I'll have someone say, "Oh yes, I have those microphones," and I will read the city they're from and not recognize and say, "Oh, you do?" And they're like, "Yeah, we have those microphones." But it's not until I review how the microphone works and turn it on to realize that they do in fact have a microphone, but they do not have a discussion or a conference microphone. Now, the term is ever so growing. We'll have people refer to our microphones as smart microphones or meeting microphones. But let me just break down what consists of our microphone stations. Now, I'm specifically talking about Discerno, but know that a majority, if not everything I talk about today, applies to all of our product lines. The Discerno line is just our focus on today's webinar. So you'll have your base station, or the unit itself, as well as a detachable gooseneck microphone. With the base station, every seat is going to have a built-in loudspeaker. Now, this allows you to not only hear what everybody else is saying, but be heard. A lot of the time, we'll have discussions with cities, and one of the biggest issues they find is they can't hear what the other councilmen are saying, or who is actually speaking, and all of the amplification is coming from the back of the room. And this is just from an audio standpoint. A lot of times there are speakers that are installed above your council or your dais, and they're turned down or off to not create an audio feedback or loop, and it makes it hard for you guys to even hear one another. And then there's a bigger complexity if you're hosting or doing hybrid meetings. So having that loudspeaker in front of every seat really makes the difference on creating better understanding within your own meeting and with your own city council. Now, all of our units are going to come with an LED light on the gooseneck itself, so we call it the LED halo, but then Additionally, down on the push to talk button, now you're going to see on the left hand of the Discerno line, there is a headphone port. Now, by default, this is used for assistive listening, but with the ever-growing need of language and interpretation, our software and our ability to route audio allows us to use this headphone jack for interpretation as well, which is really neat. Now underneath the unit, now this is a wired system, you're going to see two network ports for transferring power and audio through the units. Each of our units are going to require some type of interaction with a audio engine. Now this is a Televic engine. This is what's going to not only power the units, supply the audio, but also give you all of the interaction software. The user interface is what we call it. You'll notice on the back that there are 4 ports. This is the ports that you would connect to, and some may see this and immediately think, oh, I have more than 4 microphones. The cool thing about our system is you can do what we consider daisy chaining the units, which means that on one single port, you can bring a cable out, daisy chain from one base station to the next, to the next, to the next, and cover all of the units. You can actually go up to 25 units on a single chain, and you can even add a cable on the end and bring it back to the head engine in what we call a looped configuration, which means that you have power on both ends, so that if anyone were to disconnect a cable, maybe that's they kick it or one of the cables go bad, whatever it may be, you have power on both ends of the chain, making it so you're not going to lose any audio or the system won't go down. Not only do we support our own audio for the meeting, but we also support audio to be sent out of our system. So we provide XLR outputs for you if you need, say, additional speakers. Maybe you already have those speakers installed and want to use what you have, or maybe it's you want to buy or supply additional powered speakers. You can do so and send our audio wherever you need to. Now, there's always the question of, we already have a wireless microphone or we want to add a wireless microphone. Does Televic have wireless microphones? The answer is yes, but we don't require you to use just Televic product. If you have something that you want to reutilize or you have a specific brand that you like to use, just know that you can bring audio into our system at any time as well with these XLR inputs. Not only can you bring audio in, but you can also use our system to route the audio. We provide you 2 USB ports on the back as well. Now these ports are pretty amazing because you can connect directly into your computer. Now, the first port is dedicated, we like to say that this is your hybrid port or your PC port. You can connect straight to your PC and host a Teams or a Zoom call or even stream. This is a mixture of all of the audio in and all of the audio out. So it's a 1-by-1 mixture there, but we provide you a second port. Now this port really, in full transparency, was designed for court applications so that we can isolate up to 8 different microphones for individual mic recording. But you can use this USB as really anything as well, but it has the ability to do a multi-channel discretion there with a single USB. Now, what does this all mean when it comes to being able to integrate other products, both pulling audio in and sending audio out? We're able to route all of this through that built-in loudspeaker, meaning that all of the Teams audio or the Zoom audio or the wireless mic isn't something that's only being played in the speakers outside of Televic, but instead the speakers right in front of each individual. It's a term that we use a lot. It's called at-seat audio. Instead of in-room audio, it's at-seat audio. And those that have experienced it can say or echo that it really is a difference in understanding what's happening during a meeting, which is great. Now, when we're talking about voting, because of course that's what this webinar is about, I'm excited to announce to you that we have created and launched Discerno Decide. Now, as I've mentioned, voting is not something new to Televic, so just know that we have done it historically for a long time, and we're really good at voting. Not just your yes, no, abstain, but we're talking about your weighted votes. If you have quorums, there's lots of things that we have been able to do. And can still be done throughout different Televic systems. With Discerno itself, historically has been a discussion only system. It didn't ever have the ability to vote. And that's not because we didn't want it to, but it is because we created Discerno as a cost-effective or essential line, that if budgets were tight, but you still need a solution to clear audio for your meetings, we had a solution for you. But we see the desire that voting happens at every price point when it comes to city, and not just at those that have a big budget for voting. And we've provided a new product line that includes voting. So Discerno Decide still offers every great aspect that Discerno Discuss did, but now with some great features and some new software options. Now, when I talk about software, let me just let you know that Discerno is a browser-based software. Now, again, there is no requirement to use this software. This system can be deployed and used without any interface with a computer, but this is how you can access or change or customize the system from a default to a really set up and customize the system that makes sense to your workflow. So we have some great and different discussion modes. Again, we are known for being the push to talk company, but we don't always use that feature. We have many others. So you can see here the lineup of direct speak, which is just your push to talk, your typical push to talk. Turn your mic on and turn it off when you're done. We still have our request queue. So if you go through more of a formal meeting process, that request queue is available for you. And then grouping we see used a lot. Group mode means you'll allow only a certain amount of microphones open at a time or live at a time, and then anyone else that wants to speak has to wait their turn. And again, that number is decided upon individually. So you can go in there and say, hey, for this meeting, I only want to allow two microphones live, and then we'll put people into request queues. Now, request queues can be granted or opened from the software, but also from the hardware. So that's something that we've always had. I didn't really go into depth with it this webinar, but if you'd like to know more about that, we can. But the biggest and most demanded discussion mode is what we call our hands-free mode. Now, we have put a lot of time into this. Now, this is not a new mode. We did launch it. It is newer, but we did launch it last year. And hands-free mode allows you to use a push-to-talk microphone without having to push to talk. It is all mics live and all speakers live at the same time, which is fantastic because that means your speaker is live when you're talking to a virtual participant. So instead of having to mute and unmute your phone so that your speaker would go live, you don't have to do that. You just speak into the microphone. It acknowledges that you're there. And that is all of the engineering that's been done on the back end. So keep that in mind that you can use these discussion modes like always and really rotate through them, change them when you need. With this being an IP-based software, you don't have to download it on any specific computer. You just access it remotely, which is great for any of your clerks or anyone that's in IT that's trying to fix or moderate or tune anything. You don't have to physically be in the room, just have access to the network that it's connected to, or tap directly into the audio engine itself. Now, to take a look at the devices, let me hit next there. They do look a little bit different. Now they have some LED backlight options or symbols that will come up. Now these icons aren't lit all of the time. They only light up if you have determined the unit itself as a chairman. Then you're going to see some different lights pop up for the unit, and that's just for control and the ability to start and stop votes. But these LEDs that pop up are haptic. You're able to touch them, and use them through different modes. Now, one thing that's really neat, you'll notice on the right-hand side of the unit is we have a star icon. This star icon on the top is nothing to do with our system. This is actually just a programmable button, which is great if you're trying to integrate our system into any other software or meeting management. It allows you to use this button for other platforms to control whatever that may be. Now, we have seen this being used for turning on lights or dropping down monitors or playing white noise through a machine or through the speaker. You can have this set to do really anything. The icon below is our language button or a language channel. We have reserved a language channel for you so that if you are using the system, you can actually route a specific language to this device. And if that button is pushed, then instead of the headphone jack being assistive listening or floor audio, you're going to be able to hear the interpretation channel being played through there. Keep in mind that we don't interpret your meeting for you automatically, that this is audio that's being routed, but you have the hardware that works now with other platforms, other systems, and in this case, for language. Now, this next slide, if my computer will jump over, there we go, is going to show you what a chairman will see. So you'll see that little triangle icon or play icon, as well as the square icon for stop. This is how a chairman device can actually start and stop votes from the hardware itself. You can stop, start, and even clear. And then on the left-hand side, you're going to see the volume control. That icon, the headphone jack is what activates it. So once you plug in headphones, you'll see the plus and minus in that the headphone signal, or the headphone icon rather. But it won't be there all the time, only when you plug something in to control that headphone audio. Now, if you weren't only using the hardware in the room, if you were actually accessing our browser, this is something that's new for the software itself. Is on the left hand of the screen, you're going to see now a new voting tab. That voting tab allows you to create a template, which is, in my opinion, really nice because you can create up to 5 button voting with our system. You'll see here on the example, there is a voting topic. Now that is optional. A topic is not required, especially for the template. Then your voting options, you can assign what the values are, as well as the color and the icon associated with it. Now these icons are what's going to show up on the device. So as I say, up to 5, you can have just yes, no, or yes, no, abstain for your template. And then you'll see below the voting settings. Now we do have secret votes and secret votes while the vote is in process. This will allow it so people can't vote like their neighbor or see how their neighbor voted until the vote is closed. And this is part of the template. So you can actually assign or check these off, but it can be manipulated later, which is cool. So like this, this little diagram shows you during the meeting, if you're starting it from the software, now this can be again accessed via an IP address, meaning that you don't need internet. You just type in that IP address. It will allow you to log in as an operator, as a technician, as a chairman. You have different user logins, but once a meeting is started, if you're logged in as the operator, you have the ability right here at the bottom. You'll see that it is a voting button. You can select that and this box will pop up, and within this box it's going to populate whatever your template was. This is really cool to me as it's a new change to the software, because your template could say vote number, and then you can go ahead and manipulate that template by putting vote number 1, or maybe this is agenda item and you put agenda item 1 or 2 or 8, meaning that you can add to a template or you can change a template. So maybe your template is yes, no, abstain, but for this vote specifically, you're going to do yes and no. You could actually just X right out of that abstain option, as well as these secret votes and remain secret while vote is in progress. You can have these selected or unselected in your template, but then select them during individual votes. Once that vote is started and stopped, once you start a new vote, it will go right back to your template, which is really nice because typically if you make a template, it's going to stay that way. You have to create or change the template, but it will let you edit it or change it on the fly. Now another new tab. So as an operator, you now have a reports tab. So what happens after the vote? You're going to have a list or a record of every vote that you've cast. One thing I want you to notice that right here, sorry, I'm trying to manage two screens, of course. Right here, you can see this vote. They used a voting topic, whereas these ones down here, they did not. It was just part of the template, and they will timestamp. If a voting topic is not used, a timestamp will be added to the vote regardless. Now, those can be accessed at any time. If you hit that view report on the right hand side, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to pop open a new browser for you. Now this can be downloaded just as a digital copy, or you can actually print this as a PDF and add it to your minutes, but it's going to go over different details of the vote. It will go over, of course, your start and stop times. It's going to timestamp it for you. It will do an overview of the vote itself, what the topic was, if you had one in there, if it was yes, no, or abstain. And then if you did not select the secret vote, then it's going to go break it down into details and tell you how that individual voted. The new addition, not only to voting in the software, is that you can name individuals now. Discerno historically did not allow you to name microphones, but now you can name seats, and you can watch those votes and record those votes in the reports. Not only do you have those different user logins, but you have a login that's called signage. This signage login will actually allow you to pull the entire meeting and process up on a monitor in the screen. Or in the room, excuse me. And this is going to watch not only your active microphone, so there's a speaker list. It's going to show you active speakers. Now, if you're not voting, I know this screen back here has a live vote, but if you're not voting, you have the ability to upload an image and put the microphones or the icons of microphones on the image. If you haven't seen our software, we can follow up with you and show that in great detail, but let's just say that you'll clearly see when a vote is live versus when it's just part of the meeting that's only discussion. Once you start a meeting or start a vote, rather, you'll see this voting screen come up. You can watch individuals vote, or it will show you a total if you're using that secret vote option. It will watch it while it's running, and then you can stop and clear the vote from the device or even from the software, and then download it if needed. So, of course, after the meeting, those voting results are going to remain available for you. Your outcomes can be verified. You don't have to go and replay the session or watch any video. Your records can be downloadable, and they really support public access. You can upload them part of your minutes. Confidence becomes more clear, and it's allows your public to have trust in what's happening during the meeting, because they do not only see it live in the room, but they can also see it after the meeting has concluded from the records. And transparency shouldn't end when the meeting adjourns, and we believe we're able to do that now, even from our essential package, where traditionally we had not. So the Discerno 9 now gives you that access and that ability to vote directly from your unit, and makes it easy for you, not only as a city official, but also as the clerk and as the public, to view and see these reports after, but also live during the meeting. Everything we've discussed today, of course, is your city council, is applying Televic system, especially or specifically Discerno, which we have done throughout this country for a long time. But know that our systems, again, aren't designed only for formal meetings, that we are used in many applications and spaces, including your school boards, your higher education, if you're talking classrooms, when we're talking for most of your courtrooms. Now, Discerno and its newest upgrades have been a request or a demand from the courts, which allow for that singular or single isolated microphone recording. And it has been something that is used around the country as an effective way to bring audio to every seat that's programmable and routable. But of course, you'll find us in even your corporate spaces, your conference rooms, and event spaces. So just to show you how versatile and adaptable our systems are, they really follow your workflow. So even though you all might be joining because you are cities and there's a council meeting that you're looking towards, or looking to make easier to capture those votes and make things clear, know that our hardware isn't only for that use. I have a lot of customers that, even though their main reach out for us was for city council, know that that is not all we do, and that our products are capable of doing multiple applications using the same hardware. Specifically, I have many that use the same hardware for all of their commission meetings. If there's planning groups, they use the same hardware, and they want the ability to capture everything for both use cases in the same room. So we make that easy for you. Now, to wrap this meeting up, and I think we're getting close to our time here. We are. So I will do this quickly, but Discern or Decide, this decision is clear. So informal voting creates uncertainty, but visibility and accuracy remove doubt. The public gets to see the decision as it happens. The record reflects what everybody saw, and transparency is built into the vote. Now, I want to again thank you for being here. Now, we did go through that pretty quickly, and I see some questions that my team, I believe, are answering. But if there is more questions that you have, I'm going to have this survey be sent to you. It should be popping up at your screen. But if not, you can find it in the links tab. Go ahead and fill it out. There is an opportunity in there to ask more questions or ask our team to follow up with you. If you'd like me to follow up directly, I'm more than happy to do so. Otherwise, you can find us at televic.com/conference. And then I hope to hear from you soon. If not, then I will catch you at our next webinar. Thank you again for being here, and have a fabulous rest of your day. Bye now.